Hi guys, I'm back with another video. I'm currently in my hostel. It's a nice 6 bunk, it's quite nice. Yesterday I was actually playing board games with MIT students, and guys, if you want to play board games and you like board games, MIT is the place to go because everybody is way too smart in that university and you just play board games against a bunch of quant traders, you know. So it's pretty fun. Anyways, I thought I'd jump into it. First thing I want to say is just a bit of a preface when it comes to this channel and my videos. I'm not going to make videos in sequential order. Like, I'm not trying to make videos that build on concepts or anything. So if you're expecting to have this kind of complete guide to the science, I'm not going to be ready to put that out just yet. But if you want to know anything about it, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to explain it. I just don't think I'm ready to make a public course or something like that yet. So sometimes videos are going to jump all over the place and talk about completely different concepts at different stages of understanding. But I just thought, as a second video, I thought I'd make a video that kind of explains what the science is and my definition of it, just so it would set the context to everything else. But it's not gonna build on every episode into the future. So that's the preface. Anyways, we'll move on to the content. What actually is Jungian Analytical Psychology? And it's gonna be my definition of it. It's what I found the most useful. So just like the political spectrum, some people talk about Jungian psychology in different ways. Some people think about Jungian psychology in terms of dreams, in terms of yoga, in terms of just friendships and relationships, naturally developing it through that way. Some people talk about it through even astrology. And I don't care about any of that. Although I don't think it makes any sense. I think it's not true. Who knows, I could be wrong. I haven't read the research. I'm not the most well studied on that, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I haven't found my way through it. So that's not what I care about. But I think most people would agree, if you strip Jungian psychology back to its very, very roots, what it's really about is making us aware of what we're unaware of. And everything else extends from that. So I talk a lot about the 8-function model. That's part of it. That's part of making us aware of what we're unaware of. And part of that, making us aware of what we're unaware of, is making us aware of different sides of our mind, is making the unconscious conscious. Jung famously said that the first step to enlightenment is an encounter with the shadow. And the shadow, also known as the unconscious, is another side of our mind. And he's saying to reach enlightenment, which is cognitive integration, the first step is to realize you have different sides to your mind. And that's something that's quite hard for people to do since the beginning of time, right? Since the beginning of time, we've been living outward. If you think about the way you perceive the world, you really don't think about what's going on behind your brain. You can think about why you made decisions, why you were motivated to do things, but you don't really think about how that actually happened and why you are the way you are. And when it comes to that, most people think about their human nurture rather than human nature. And I'm just going to give you a question to try illustrate that. So my question to you is, and feel free to take some time and pause the video. The question is, who are you? The question is, who are you? And I want you to think of some sort of answer to that question, whatever it may be. Now, when I ask most people that question, a couple of things happen. Either one, they just don't know what to say. They just say, I don't know. Another thing people do is they say, they introduce their name and they talk about the school they go to and they talk about their hobbies and interests, and that's what they are. Makes sense. I mean, that is them. But I think what that shows is that we only understand our human nurture. We only understand the impact that the environment has on our cognitive growth, but we don't actually understand our human nature. In fact, a lot of people I talk to don't even think human nature exists. They think we're all born the same and that your environment just makes you who you are. But based on Jungian Analytical Psychology, I think we do have human nature. And I think we're all born with a different personality type that kind of dictates how we behave and how we interact and perceive the world. If you think about it, up in your brain, like there's someone up there making decisions. Like, who is actually driving that engine up there? Who's actually doing it? How is it working? And how is it making you perceive and interact with the world? Now, you could go your whole life without knowing this, and that's okay. But Jungian Analytical Psychology gives you the tools to actually peek inside. I mean, normally we're living life outwards like this, right? But Jungian Analytical Psychology literally gives you a sort of telescope, and it lets you look inside your brain. I mean, the eye kind of sees everything but itself, right? And how cool would it be if you could actually look inside your brain, understand who you are, and also understand that there's different sides to you? I mean, that's pretty cool. And that's where every single other piece of research comes into play. They're just tools for you to achieve that, to make yourself aware of what you are unaware of. That's where the 8 function model comes in, and that's what I mostly talk about. Other people talk about dreams and stuff. I don't talk about that, but it's the same purpose, to make you aware of what you are unaware of. So now that we kind of understand what this science is about, I just want to talk about 2 more things. So the first is, what use is this? What use is this science? The answer is that it's actually extremely useful. To me, it's crazy that people can go through life and not even be able to answer the question, who am I, with confidence. Like, we can be experts in mathematics and in any sort of endeavor, and that's respectable. But when it comes down to it, some of your biggest decisions in life are going to come down to you, right? I mean, your whole purpose in life, that's specific to you, right? Your relationships, that's specific to you. And these are all personal endeavors. And to make the best decisions, you have to understand who you are. Another reason why this is really important is because there's this quote that goes, love your neighbor as you would love yourself. And it's really interesting, because how can you love yourself if you don't even know who you are? And how can you love your neighbor as you would love yourself? I mean, that's fundamentally broken in the first place, because according to Jungian Analytical Psychology and the 8 function model, people are literally different. They are born different with different human natures. So different people need different things. So you can't even treat others like you would like to be treated. And naturally what happens with these personalities is that there's people in the world who have kind of conflicting personalities with ourselves. And we just end up not liking these people because we think they're weird, or we just don't like the way they are. But it's just a projection. We project ourselves onto them and be like, if I was them, I wouldn't be doing what they're doing. But you're not them. And then once we understand that different people are actually just fundamentally different and they're just acting normal according to who they are, then we can understand and accept people, which is way better than hating on people, which we see all the time these days. Another thing is that this science can answer questions like, what is your ideal relationship? What makes you fulfilled? What are you insecure about, and how can you work on it? What do you worry about? You can also answer questions, what are you unaware of? And what is the worst part of yourself? What are you critical about? Or what are you best at? It can also give you much more insight into your career choices and what you want to do. And it's going to make you much more sure of yourself, so that it's harder for you to get swayed by other people. It can also give you the tools to manipulate others. So according to the 8 function model, you can peer into other people's cognitions, and you can manipulate them. And that doesn't mean in a bad way. You can also do it in a good way, right? You can help them. You can find it easier to communicate things in a way that will help people. So it's incredibly useful. It's incredibly useful. I'll talk about more of the other concepts in another video. That's kind of the gist of it and why you should care about it. It's very interesting. And I think that's it. So stay tuned. I'll see you next time.